What is up, guys? It is episode 5 of my podcast. Might as well just call this the Bobo podcast at this point, right? So today we have my good friend, Devin Williams. We went to high school together. Him and I in high school, and even on Twitter, if you follow both of us, we're like Skip and Shannon back and forth all the time. And we bonded throughout the years, growing up playing lacrosse together. We were short stick D middies. It was me, our buddy Jihadi, and Devin. We called ourselves Memorial Day weekend because there's 3 days in that weekend, and we always had this like thing before the game, run past each other, balling. And reason why I have Devin on this week is because he was at the game of the week, which was the Kansas City Chiefs at the Baltimore Ravens. Say hello to the fans, Devin.
What's going on, everybody? How we doing today?
So Devin is in Rochester, New York right now, because that is where I'm from. So Devin, I first want to ask you this. Now, I've never been to Baltimore for a game. Always wanted to go. M&T Bank Stadium. Now, one thing that I recognized was when Baltimore came out, that actor who just died, I forgot his name, they had like the whistling sound from The Wire. Did you recognize that in the moment?
No, not really. You just like you see like the intro, the hype video, and you think like, oh, like that whistle. Like anytime you hear that like, little whistle, it gives you like a little bit of chills.
Yeah.
And just like being a former athlete, like knowing if we had that on our thing, I'll be like, holy shit, this is like, it just gives you that extra rush. But no, like him being in The Wire, and The Wire having like such a heavy presence and influence like on Baltimore and showing the culture, like when you go back and look at it, it makes it the whole experience that much cooler.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Now, Devin did play college football, so he is much smarter when it comes to, what an offense should do, what a defense should do. Devin played at Fisher for most of your time, right?
Yeah, I played Fisher 3 years, Alfred 1 year.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna first start off by saying this: how are the fans? How is it back to be inside of an NFL stadium? I haven't been inside of an NFL games. I'm going to one in like a couple months here. So we'll start with that. How was it being back?
Bro, it was crazy, because me, the type of player I was, like definitely, I got a lot of my juice, a lot of my enthusiasm from the fans being there. Like you want to play well for them. Everybody spending their money, come out to support you, and like just them being there, like it definitely like elevates the experience a lot more, and definitely just makes everything a lot better. That. Watching the game with no fans, you don't hear the noise. You can tell it's just not as authentic as just having all those thousands of people just packed into the stadium, no leg room, no nothing, just screaming, cheering for their guys.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And the beers are flowing, whatever the case may be. I did see that video of those fans chirping Jackson Mahomes after the game and him giving them a little hydration shower. I thought that was hilarious because I'm not a Jackson Mahomes guy whatsoever.
Yeah.
I think he brings a terrible look to the Mahomes family, but we'll just leave it at that. So I think it was the first drive of the game, Lamar threw a pick six, right? Or was it the second?
Yeah. So on that play, Sammy Watkins actually, I think he was running like a little hitch, kind of just like extended hitch. And he actually slipped down a little bit. He didn't like flat out fall, but he definitely slipped. And I definitely think that gave Matthew a chance to jump it better than he would have if Sammy had stayed upright. I think maybe if he stays upright, it's either just a knockdown or Sammy catches it and gets tackled right away. But now, like, dude, the speed of the game is just at that level with those two teams, especially, it's so much different than you would think. And like seeing it in person, it's just like, wow, they're that fast, or wow, they're that big. And like some of them, they aren't that big, but like they're just so much faster, stronger than like most people, than more than you would think.
Exactly. And personally, when I saw that, I was like, shit, it's about to be one of those nights for Lamar. Just like everything could go the wrong way for him. But I tweeted this on Monday Night Football when they lost to the Raiders. I think that team, with all the injuries that happened, and let me know if you agree with me from seeing it live, they have a lot of dog in them. Just like fight. right? Defense needs a little work, but on the inside, I think that Baltimore Ravens team has a lot of fight. Can you agree with that?
Yeah, no, that's just kind of been the culture of Baltimore, like all throughout my entire time watching football. Like, even if they've never really had the most talented roster outside of Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, but they've just always had great competitors, and their coach believes in them. Like Harbaugh, 4th and 1, game on the line against the best team in the league, the Kansas City Chiefs, the team you haven't beaten in 3-4 years. And him wanting to go for it, and him making sure his players wanted to go for it on a 4th down, knowing if you don't get it, everybody in that stadium is going to boo you. It was just, he wasn't afraid of that moment, and neither were the Ravens, neither were Lamar. Like you've seen that in the past where against the Seahawks, 4th and 2, like, hey, let's go for it, touchdown. Hey, 4th and 1, just Kansas City Chiefs on the line. Like we got nothing to lose here. Let's go for it. It's just Baltimore. Yeah, like Lamar, everything that he might get criticized for, everything that people might say about him, he goes out there and plays every single weekend. Yeah, he might throw 2 interceptions, but you never see him get down on himself. You never see him blame anybody else. You always hear him take accountability and always come back the next week just better and stronger.
Now, let's get into a little bit of Patrick Mahomes here. I don't have his statistics or anything like that, but I will say this: that game was not on him whatsoever.
No.
You put up 35. No, 30. How many points was it?
Yeah, it was 35. Yeah, they put up 35
points. What the? Where the hell?
Yeah, no.
Defense? What the
No,
fuck?
that game definitely wasn't on him. It was like like you said, the Ravens got a lot of fight in them. Anthony Averett, great coverage on Tyreek Hill. Ball hits him in one hand, Averett's got the other hand locked up. You can't really do anything about that. Sometimes defense makes a great play, on offense a great play. But I will say that I definitely think the Chiefs were in position to win that game, but they fumbled, and that's just the name of the game. When you saw that fumble, the air just came out of the stadium. And then once you knew the Ravens had recovery of it, you're like, holy shit. Like it just became so loud that like no matter who you're rooting for, it was just cool to see that moment just because of how that game had went. It was supposed to be the Ravens who lost on a fumble on a game-winning drive after Kansas City had just kicked the field goal and go up, because that's just how the flow of the game is going. And just to see it go the other way around, especially being at Baltimore, it was wild. It was a once in a lifetime experience. Being as close as I was, being 5th row in the corner of the end zone where Lamar did that front flip. It was insane, man. It was definitely worth any penny I spent on it. I would definitely spend even more on it just for the experience. Just to see 2 of my favorite players, 2 of the best players in the league, 2 of the best teams in the league just go at it. And just being such a big football fan, you can't really put a price on that experience.
Now, yes, that was like a true football fan's game, and I loved watching every second of it. Anytime you can get Lamar versus Patty, together on prime time. This is the 2nd year in a row they've been on prime time. Last year with no fans. Now, this is another question for you. Obviously, being a huge Brady fan, the game of the year always checked on the calendar was Brady versus Manning, right? Can you see, now I know Mahomes has Lamar's number like astronomically, right? Like he just does. Lamar admitted it. He finally got the monkey off his back. Moving forward, right? Can you see this being a little bit of, that new age, like new age of quarterback, dynamic, run the ball. Lamar's not as great of a thrower as Patrick, but not too bad. Can you kind of see like that rivalry picking up a little bit, like a Brady and Manning, like a classic matchup every single year that people are looking forward to?
No, I definitely think so. And I think more so Brady Manning was it was more of a chess match, whereas this is kind of like a NASCAR race. It's just like who's going to get there faster. Like just the style of the player is so different in both quarterbacks. Mahomes is just gunslinger, throw it downfield all day mentality. Lamar is, I'm going to run right by you, run through you, and just get by you any way I can. But the football is definitely different from Brady and Manning. Brady and Manning was definitely like a chess match because those are 2 of the most intelligent quarterbacks that ever played the game. But this one is these are just 2 guys. It's just freestyle, and it's kind of like a one-on-one basketball where like a Steph Curry versus Kyrie Irving, like you don't know who's going to hit you with what. And it just pretty much comes down to whoever has the ball last in either of those games is going to win, which we saw the case in three of the last 4 meetings, whoever's had the ball last has come away with the win. Outside of Kansas City with the blowout last year. But yeah, no, the influence that those two have on the new generation and them both being so young and having so much success, I definitely think Mahomes and Lamar is something to look forward to for years to come in playoffs and regular season and everything.
Yes, and we do actually get Mahomes versus Josh Allen in a couple of weeks, week 5, I believe. Now, moving forward for both of these teams, right? Obviously, you have the Ravens, who have a very slim running back room. I said this, I believe, on my first show. I said the Ravens running back room would be the best running back room if it was like 2015, 2016, right? You got like Devontae Freeman, you got Le'Veon Bell, who's I still think on the practice squad. You have Latavius Murray, right, who actually has been doing pretty well for them. So moving forward for both these teams, right? Kansas City 1-1, Ravens 1-1. The AFC is a fucking gauntlet this year. You and I both know that teams are going to beat the shit out of each other every single week in the AFC, right? Where do you see these teams ending up in the playoffs and the ceiling for both these teams?
The ceiling for both these teams, definitely with the quarterback play and with the people they have. You obviously know the ceiling for the Chiefs is the Super Bowl because they've been there, done that. And it's just like you said with Lamar getting the monkey off his back. If he can get to that AFC Championship or if he can get to that Super Bowl, I think the sky's the limit for both teams. But like you said, the AFC, it's a fucking barn burner every week. I think the Browns still have the most complete roster in the AFC, and I do think the Chiefs are very beatable. I think their defense is weak, and their offense may be very good, but there might not come games in the winter time where they can go put up 35. And I definitely think they're going to have to get their defense more consistent. Some drives they'll be -4 yards, and other drives they'll be 80-yard touchdown, and it looks easy. And they're giving up, I think I saw this morning, it was 470 yards a game, 206 rushing. Granted, you played probably the 2 best rushing teams in the league to start the season, but still, you got to get better. You can't if they're able to have that success now. Injuries are going to happen during the season. People are going to get banged up during the season. Your defense might not be as strong, or you might not have some of the players out there later in the season. But yeah, no, the sky, as far as we know what Kansas City can do with the weapons they have. But yeah, no, Baltimore it's just a matter of getting over the hump. And I definitely think this win shows that they can do it. I don't know if it's a guarantee that they do it again because, it's hard to beat a team twice. But it's just the AFC, especially the AFC North, is just so competitive, You got the Bengals who can go in and beat anybody any given week. You got the Browns who go where their quarterback goes. And, the Browns have been hit with some injuries too. But, you can't count the Browns out with that running back. They're the best in the league right now. The Steelers, Steelers elite defense, and you really never know what you're going to get out of them on offense. But I think both, every team in that division is a little bit unpredictable because, you really never know who you're going to get what week. The Browns haven't beaten the Ravens in, I believe it's 3 seasons now. It's swept 3 seasons in a row, but the Browns also just won 12 games. So
exactly
that division especially is going to be very competitive. But the AFC has got a lot of rising quarterbacks. Justin Herbert is very good. The Broncos, you never know what you're going to get with the Broncos. You never know what you're going to get with the Raiders. The AFC is definitely wide open, especially with Buffalo taking that leap as well. And I believe if they can maintain that success, Buffalo is right up there in the hunt with just everybody else. And it's just really tough to see with the AFC right now.
Yeah, it's funny. I made this analogy. So obviously when Tom Brady was in the AFC, everybody was like, the only reason why he got to the AFC Championship game every single year is because he played against weaker-ish opponents, right? He, in his last Super Bowl run with the Patriots, 6th ring, he beat a Kansas City team on the road that was a year away from a Super Bowl win. The next year they won the Super Bowl. But it's funny, once Brady leaves the AFC becomes the better conference, hands down the better conference. And Brady goes to the NFC. And now this year, the only team I could really see the Bucs playing in the NFC Championship game realistically is the LA Rams, right? And that's my opinion. And I stand true to that. I know we're going into week 3. It's very early, but can you agree with that comment? Do you disagree with that comment?
No, the Rams definitely right now. I would probably put number two in NFC. But San Francisco's got their weapons back, and if Jimmy G can play he doesn't even have to be superhero lights out. But if Jimmy G can play to a consistent level, and just kind of get the monkey off his back with Trey Lance watching, then San Francisco is definitely going to compete because they got one of the best D lines in the league. They got a lot of talent on that roster, and Shanahan is a great coach. Like despite his issues in the Super Bowl, Shanahan's a great coach. He's a smart coach. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows how to get his players to buy into the system. He knows how to adjust the system to players, which is why he's had success in every offense he's been in. But yeah, no, what you said about Brady, it's the LeBron effect. LeBron runs through the East 8 years in a row, 9 years in a row. And then all of a sudden LeBron leaves and the Nets are the best team in the league. The Bucks won the championship. The Raptors are completely different countries in the championship. It's just like it's crazy to see how much one player has that effect on the team and how much better he really made the Patriots and how much better that he made the Buccaneers. Like granted, he didn't do it by himself. All those teams had great defenses, but you can't deny the fact that the common denominator on those teams is Tom Brady at the end of the day. And just him going to Tampa, winning a Super Bowl. You don't have to like him. You don't have to be a fan of him, but you're going to respect him. And he made sure that everybody is going to respect him regardless because he's the only person to ever beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. And the fact that he did it again after what the Chiefs did to them in, I think it was like 5-6 weeks prior, it just shows his greatness, man.
I'm excited to see where this season goes just because there is fans in general. But Devin, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for coming on. We'll try to get Devin on again, saying he is good at talking or actually not good, great at talking about football and the NFL, college, whatever the case may be, even though we don't really talk about college football on this show. So Devin, thank you for coming on, AKA Boonie. We'll see you whenever we see you next, okay? I'll try to
keep me up. I'm available whenever, man. Just keep me updated.
All right, sounds good, Dev. You have a good one, buddy.
All right, thanks, brother. You too. Appreciate the opportunity. Yeah.
All right, and that was Devin Williams. All right, so now we're gonna talk quickly about the Patriots traveling to the New York Jets. Zach Wilson was seeing these. Imagine if there was a ghost right there. Again, New England goes into MetLife and has a quarterback seeing ghost. I predicted it. Belichick will own rookie quarterbacks. Forever will. He just does. Not saying Mac Jones had a great game either. There was this one play that truly showed he was a game manager, and I'm not going to chirp game managers because the Patriots won their first 3 Super Bowls. There was a play, Mac to James White to Mac to Jonnu. He had Nelson Aguilar over the top for a touchdown. Now, I get it. You don't want to make a mistake, but I want to see what happens when Mac throws an interception. I really do. I want to see how he reacts. He seems cool, calm, and collective right now, but I just want to see it. I want a little growth from him. I want something in the film that's like, Mac, what the fuck are you doing? Patriots won that game 25-6. Play of the game was easily Damian Harris breaking 8-9 tackles, going beast mode. Fumbled the ball last week for the win. Comes back and does that, right? The Jets aren't a terrible team, but they're still the New York Jets, right? Red zone offense has to improve. We're going to beat, the Saints and the Bucks moving forward. I'm excited for the Saints game this weekend, and we'll talk more about that as I record tomorrow. I will post on Friday. So go Pats. Let's go.